Amity University has India's largest scholarship program, from which over 25,000 brilliant students have already benefited. Students with over 95% in Class 12 boards get 100% scholarship, and students with over 90% get 50% scholarship. Join brilliant like-minded students who want to be successful. Apply at amity.edu/scholarships.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi will be addressing the first ever inaugural session of the first national meet of District Legal Services Authorities at Vigyan Bhavan today at around 10 a.m. Union Home Minister Amit Shah scheduled to address the National Conference on Drug Trafficking and National Security in Chandigarh today. Chief Ministers of Haryana, Himachal Pradesh and Punjab, officers from the Border Security Force, National Investigation Agency and Narcotics Control Bureau, as well as Anti-Narcotics Task Force chiefs of respective states and members of Narco Coordination Center will also be present at the conference.
Me and my Vijay are together. Absolute pandemonium, chaos, in fact, massive security thrown around. Big push diplomatic visit, which is going to be, of course, capped by the Quad leaders meets. Uddhav surrounded himself with unelectable coterie. You expect these people to dictate terms to a grassroots strong leader like Eknath Shinde?
And in other national news, in a fresh trouble for SACA.
News network is the only network to get you an aerial view.
सोनिया गांधी से ईडी पूछताछ नहीं कर सकती। इसको रोको यार, तुम हम पे लगते हो इधर से। ये क्या मतलब है ये?
Chandigarh police has applied the water cannon to disperse the protesters.
Are you okay?
The final journey of Flight Lieutenant Aditya Bal of the Indian Air Force, the young braveheart who was one of two pilots who lost his life in that ill-fated crash of a training sortie on Thursday evening. These are visuals from his hometown in Jammu. As local residents chant his name in pride, our correspondent Gursimran on the ground taking us through every detail of the performance of the last rites for Flight Lieutenant Aditya Bal. Gursimran, the mortal remains have arrived, and as you said, they've made their way from his residence, from Flight Lieutenant Bal's residence, and perhaps this is the final journey when his last rites will be performed at the crematorium, as you were telling us. Take us through what's happening.
Yes, the last journey of this braveheart has begun from the native residence in the Chandramahlu village, and the mortal remains, they are now heading from the village, the native village, towards the crematorium. And this is an example, the locals, the way thousands and thousands of locals have gathered from almost all parts of the Jammu. This clearly speaks that what kind of saga and history this braveheart was carrying, what kind of proud the people of the local area were, the kind of supreme sacrifice, because we spoke to many people and what they are saying that they are really proud of, because he was an inspiration to the people, the inspiration to the locals of the border area of Araspura, who always looked to him like an inspiration, who has made it to a next level where it's almost always a dream of many to make it. He was a fighter pilot, and this is really a big achievement for the locals, that persons from the area, from a remote village of Jammu, has made it to the Indian Air Force. Now the bravehearts of this braveheart of the Indian Air Force is leaving for his last journey. The officials of the Indian Air Force, even some of his badge mates, they are giving the support to Advait Bal, who attained the supreme sacrifice day before yesterday. Yesterday we spoke to his uncle, who has looked after him, as his father has also served in the Indian Army. So his uncle was with him all the time, be it his admission in the class 6 in the Sainik school, or the recent or the incidents that have after that. Now the Gaurav is continuously showing you the visuals, the tricolors that are being raised by the locals in respect of this brave hearts. This vehicle of the Indian Air Force, it will be taking the mortal remains of this brave heart to the final destination. A tough time for the family, the locals, for entire Jammu and Kashmir, as he was the one who has made them proud for many years. He has been and will remain in their memories. This is what the locals say. When yesterday we spoke to his uncle, he said that once Advait told them that he will make him proud, he did so, but it was not for a longer tenure. It was just for the 4 to 5 years of the service that he gave for the Indian Air Force. And an unfortunate incident that has unfolded has left the entire family inconsolable. The family don't know what to speak, how to react. It's like they feel that they have been left shattered totally due to the incident that has unfolded day before yesterday. The brother of Flight Lieutenant Advait Bal, Harshit, was in Delhi when he got to know of this unfortunate news, and what they say, the family members say that they cannot believe even that this has happened to them, and what has actually unfolded in the recent incident. Yeah, and we are showing you the visuals of the last rites of Flight Lieutenant Advait Bal. The mortal remains have left from his residence and are now en route to the crematorium, where the last rites will be performed. And this incident has left a big void, a gap for the family that is completely unfillable, because they even understand that Advait won't return. And though the people of the country stand with them, but now we have seen that this unfortunate incident has taken this brave heart away from the family. Live visuals is Gaurav was showing you of the last rites of this brave hearts, as the mortal remains are being taken to the crematorium in the Jindar Mahlu village. The incident was reported at around 9:10, few minutes after the wing commander M. Rana and Flight Lieutenant Advait Bal left for this training sortie. And this sortie, after a few minutes of the flight, possibly a technical snag, which it initially seems. However, a court of inquiry has already been ordered by the Indian Air Force, and due to the technical snag, they couldn't come out of that. However, they made it very sure that the MiG-21 is not landed in a civilian populated area, otherwise it would have caused the loss of civilian lives also. So without caring for their life, risking their lives, and they are making it very sure that all of them, they are safe, all the civilians are safe, and they have made it really very sure that there is no loss of civilian lives, though they attained the martyrdom during this crash, the unfortunate incident that has unfolded. And so this is was the incident that unfolded day before yesterday, and now the sea of people have gathered here to pay tribute to this brave heart. Yes.
Well, Gursimran there getting us the pictures, viewers on the ground, where we are seeing that the Braveheart Flight Lieutenant Advait Bal's last rites that all set to take place as well. Remember to give you a recap of what had really happened of this unfortunate incident. The two Indian Air Force pilots had lost their lives on Thursday night's crash of an MiG-21 trainer aircraft in Rajasthan. In fact, Wing Commander M. Rana and Flight Lieutenant Aditya Bal had been on board, and they have both achieved martyrdom in this training sortie that they were carrying out in Barmer in Rajasthan. And Wing Commander Rana hailed from Himachal Pradesh, and we had seen that the last rites of Wing Commander being also carried out. And Flight Lieutenant Bal is from Jammu, where Gursimran is reporting for us. He's getting us the pictures, heart-wrenching pictures, really, viewers, of this last rites of Flight Lieutenant Aditya Bal that are being carried out. You can see a pool of tirangas. You can see a sea of tirangas of being waved by the civilians who are marching along with the family members in this last journey of Flight Lieutenant Aditya Bal. Let me try to bring in Gursimran once again, who is reporting on the ground. He's there at the site where these last rites are being carried out. Gursimran, speak to us a little bit about the mood and the atmosphere where you are right now. We see civilians holding and waving the tricolour. You can see the entire sea of tricolours in this last journey of Flight Lieutenant Aditya Bal. We saw that the family members were completely inconsolable, which is quite natural, of course. But we are seeing that the civilians coming there, showing their support for the brave heart, saying that this is our son of the soil who's lost his life, achieved martyrdom by doing something for the country.
Matram! Matram! Matram!
All right, we will connect with Gursimran in just a bit because viewers, he's there on the ground where these pictures we are getting for you, and quite a heartwarming image at the same time as well, viewers, since civilians chanting there, chanting in support of Flight Lieutenant Aditya Bal, the brave heart from Jammu, who lost his life in the sortie that he was carrying out on Thursday night in the crash of the MiG-21 trainer aircraft in Barmer in Rajasthan. But we see that the pool of civilians, the pool of people who have gathered there just to bid their goodbye to Flight Lieutenant Aditya Bal, to take a moment and recognize all that Flight Lieutenant Aditya Bal has done for the country and how he has achieved martyrdom. I believe Gursimran is back with us. Gursimran, over to you. But before we go across to him, we are staying with those images, viewers, that we are tracking for you of the last rites of the Flight Lieutenant Aditya Bal from Jammu. Heartwarming images of civilians gathering there, trying to get a glimpse of this entire platform as well, where Flight Lieutenant Aditya Bal's mortal remains are being carried out as well. And we see not 1 second of quietude there, but people chanting. People chanting in support of Flight Lieutenant Aditya Bal, also showing support to their family members, walking along with the family members of Flight Lieutenant Aditya Bal, trying to show their support, saying that this is not just the family members who've lost their son, but all of them really who have lost the son of the soil, who has achieved martyrdom while doing something for the country, while he was in the trainer aircraft of the MiG-21 that had unfortunately, viewers, crashed on Thursday night in Barmer in Rajasthan. One more person had been there with Flight Lieutenant Aditya Bal, that was Wing Commander M. Rana. And we are seeing the last rites right now in the middle of the sea of tirangas, in the middle from which the mortal remains of Flight Lieutenant Aditya Bal are being carried out, so that the last rites can be done by the family. But the people there, really, viewers, walking along with the mortal remains of Flight Lieutenant Advitibal, trying to tell the family members of Flight Lieutenant Advitibal as well that they are with them. They have not just lost their son, but all of them, in fact, have lost the son of the soil, the brave heart, Flight Lieutenant Advitibal. And as we stay with those images, viewers, Wing Commander Bakshi, in fact, is also joining me on the broadcast. Wing Commander, please speak to us a little bit about the last rites, the images that we are seeing of the Flight Lieutenant Advitibal. But I also want to get in a word from you about this entire incident that had come to light from Thursday night about the crash in Barmer in Rajasthan. Please speak to us first about these images of how civilians are also saying that they are the ones who have also lost the son of the soil, Flight Lieutenant Advitibal.
Thank you for having me over. This is a very sad occasion, but our heart goes out to the family of late Flight Lieutenant Advitibal and his kids and kin. But the question arises out here. The emotions of the people on display are absolutely what they will come out as if they have lost their own kith and kin, their own brother, own son. This is absolutely true because the citizens of India feel very high about the armed forces. Armed forces are very high in the hearts and in the respects of our citizens. The question is, Flight Lieutenant Advitibal was a flight lieutenant. He had sufficient experience. He was flying with a very senior officer also, and they unfortunately had sort of an emergency, which probably ended up in a fatal accident for both of them. It was just very unfortunate. There have been a number of accidents of late of the MiG-21s which they have taken our youth, our young officers. By MiG-21, when it comes to discussion, of course, it's not our right place for me to discuss the significances and limitation of the aircraft. But the aircraft was old. It was due to change. A lot of countries have changed the old aircraft. Even Chinese who have made this aircraft are also flying, but they are fairly new, given to Pakistan and Bangladesh and Sri Lanka and a number of other countries. They are all flying this aircraft. Our aircraft are having a problem. That government is looking into it. The MiG-21s are being replaced. The last 4 squadrons are left. But the question arises out here is that all this aspect had to be seen earlier, 40 years back, when the aircraft were 60 years back, the aircraft were inducted, but they should have started up. Way in 85, 86, the replacement should have been very seriously taken, which was not taken. Why? Because our indigenization programs are poor, and that is why we could not find a replacement. Buying from outside is a very costly thing. Here is the funeral is in progress. The squadron mates of Flight Lieutenant Advitibal are giving the shoulder in the last rite. As you can see, they are in full uniform, and they will present the last rites to the late Flight Lieutenant. And this is a tradition of the armed forces. It's world over, and paramilitary forces too, and civil police forces. They all follow this right because the person who was in uniform, who is to carry a weapon for the country, who laid his life for the country, has to be given the supreme honor. It is supposed to be the highest form of death in our Sanskriti, in our culture, and that is what is there. And that is why I told you that the people follow this, because it is there in culture, it is there in heart, it is in the blood of the people, and most of them have their kith and kin in the armed forces, especially from the Jammu and Himachal area. The maximum amount of soldiers and airmen and sailors come from this area, and that is what Flight Lieutenant Bal also was, and his colleague. So I personally feel that this is a very sad occasion, but and all the entire nation has taken a lesson from this, and something final statement has already come from government that we are going to totally replace the MiG-21 by 2025. Let us hope. September, this squadron is, Bal squadron is being replaced. The 51 squadron is being completely replaced by the new aircraft which are coming up. And we would like to now make sure and request the government to take it on top priority to replace the other 3 squadrons at the earliest without jeopardizing the safety of the country.
Well, Wing Commander, if I could also come to you about this, you have spoken briefly about it, but I would like it if you can expand on it as we stay with those pictures, Wing Commander, of the last riots that are all expected to take place of the Flight Lieutenant and Advait Bal, and we are staying with those images, Wing Commander Praful Bakshi, but we have seen that there have been at least 6 MiG-21 Bison crashes in the last 2 to 20 months, 20 months in fact, with 5 crashes in 2021 and 1 in 2022. Now we are also seeing that how 5 pilots have lost their lives in these crashes. However, this is the first such fatal trainer aircraft crash in fact of the MiG-21 Bison in a long time that we are seeing, Wing Commander. If you could expand on that, because you've already spoken about what might have been the reasons for this, and of course there has to be an official inquiry on that. But speak to us a little bit about the MiG-21s, and also going forward, is indigenous aircrafts the way going forward?
You are very right. The MiG-21 is, of course, let me tell you one thing, perhaps has been one of the top productions in the world. Maximum countries have used MiG-21 and they are still using it. Chinese have bought the aircraft along with us in 1963, but they reverse engineered and made their own called F-7M, which became F-7P for Pakistan and other countries they supplied. We were wanting to make also this aircraft in 1978-79. We did do, but let me tell you one thing. There were enough pressures from Russia. They stopped us from making it further. And our main problem, as you know very well, is aviation. In problem is the engine. There are 3 major aspects of our aircraft: engine, airframe, and the avionics and the weapon systems. If engine is the main thing, we never made engine. So problem was the buying of an engine, designing the aircraft. But whatever the pressures were on us, we did not make it. So the aircraft started getting old. Now, even if I assure you, our maintenance is top class in the world. All countries have acknowledged it. The engineers, the procedure, the SOPs are top class. Pilots are top class. In various 6 to 7 world exercises, it has been proven. Even America and Russia and France have acknowledged it. They could not compete with our pilots. But the question is, why have we failed in producing our aircraft?
Right, Wing Commander Praful Bakshi. Sorry to cut you short, Wing Commander, but we are short of time. We will be getting back to you as we stay with those images, viewers, of the last riots being conducted of the Flight Lieutenant Advait Bal, and how the family members have been inconsolable. But we are tracking those images as to how the son of the soil, the Braveheart, has lost his life. He has achieved martyrdom, and how the civilians are gathering and chanting in his favor, chanting Indian slogans, and also we are tracking all those images. But we're taking a short break here now, viewers. We'll be bringing you all the images. We're bringing you all the updates on the other side. Australia enjoyed a successful opening day of the track of cycling competition as they led the way with 3 golds and a bronze, while New Zealand won 2 events. Paracyclist Neil Fashie claimed his 5th gold medal overall and Scotland's first this year at the paracycling event of the Games on the first day. Australia dominated at the swimming pool on the opening day of the competition, which included 2 all-Australian podium lockouts in the men's 400-metre freestyle and women's 200-metre freestyle finals. And England has become the first nation to win 3 successful gold medals for the Commonwealth artistic team gymnastics events. Wherever you are, whenever you want, Republic Livestream with you everywhere. Republic Livestream, India's #1 streaming news.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi will be addressing the first ever inaugural session of the first national meet of district legal services authorities at Vigyan Bhavan today at around 10 a.m. Union Home Minister Amit Shah scheduled to address the National Conference on Drug Trafficking and National Security in Chandigarh today. Chief Ministers of Haryana, Himachal Pradesh and Punjab, officers from the Border Security Force, National Investigation Agency and Narcotics Control Bureau, as well as Anti-Narcotics Task Force chiefs of respective states and members of Narco Coordination Center will also be present at the conference.
And once again, viewers, we are cutting across to those images that we are tracking from Jammu, where we are seeing the last rites of the Flight Lieutenant Advitya being carried out. And you can see the number of people who have gathered here, the number of civilians who have gathered there in Jammu to pay their respects to the late Flight Lieutenant Advitya, where now the last rites will be conducted as per the procedure. You can see those live visuals that we are cutting across to now, where the last rites will be performed of the Flight Lieutenant Advitya, who unfortunately lost his life in the crash that took place of the MiG-21 trainer aircraft in Barmer in Rajasthan. And we have seen how civilians as well coming out and trying to pay their respects to the son of the soil, the Flight Lieutenant Advitya. And those are the live images, viewers, that we are staying with. The last rites of Flight Lieutenant Advitya. And I believe Gursimran continues to be with me from the ground. Gursimran, speak to us about these visuals. Speak to us about what you are seeing as per the procession that is being carried out of the last rites. In fact, I beg your pardon, being carried out of the late Flight Lieutenant Advitya.
Yes, right now we are at the cremation ground, wherein the last rites will be performed in a short while from now. A Tiranga rally is taken by the locals of the area as the mortal remains of this brave heart reaches the cremation ground here in the area Jinder Mahal. I'll request Gaurav to keep showing you these visuals. These visuals speaks of themselves that how this brave heart has left a void in the hearts of thousands of people who have come here to pay last tribute to this brave hearts. Now the mortal remains are arriving here in a short while from now, wherein the floral tributes will be paid to this brave heart, Flight Lieutenant Advitya, who lost his life in an unfortunate incident that unfolded day before yesterday when the MiG-21 crashed in the Barmer district of Rajasthan, in which Wing Commander M. Rana and Flight Lieutenant Advitya attained the martyrdom. And now the people have lined up to pay the last respect to the brave hearts. The locals say that he was an inspiration for many and will remain so. We are joined by some of the politicians who are arriving. Sir, we have seen that he was an inspiration, and a sea of people have arrived here.
Yeah, this is not a loss to a family, this is not a loss to a community. In fact, this is not even a loss to a state, but this is a loss to a nation. It takes a lot of immense power to strengthen a soldier. Definitely, India, our country, has lost a soldier, and soldier in the shape of Advitya, who has just served for 8 years, and within 8 years, he was committed to his job.
So this is what the locals actually feel. These are the young youngsters of this very area, and what they say, that they see Aditya Bal as an inspiration, the inspiration who has led them. Coming from the border background, they have seen the forces working really very closely to safeguard the Mother India, the unity, the integrity of the country. But with the recent incident, the day before yesterday, the unfortunate incident that has unfolded has left a gap. I request Gaurav to show you the other side. The Jawans of the Indian Air Force, they are all set to pay tribute, the gun salute to this brave heart who has attained martyrdom. They are those who also see Aditya Bal as an inspiration. Aditya Bal, who was passed out from the Sainik School in 2014, was the one who joined the Indian Air Force in 2017. Yes.
Well, viewers, we're taking a short break here now, but we'll be bringing you on the other side all the updates, and we're going to be staying with those images coming in from Jammu, where the late Flight Lieutenant Aditya Bal last rites of his being carried out, and of course the civilians coming out in huge numbers, saying that this is not just a loss to the forces but to the nation. And now on the other side, we're getting you the updates of the Prime Minister's address. Stay tuned for that.
Shinde will be visiting the state for the first time after assuming the post of Chief Minister. Shinde will take stock of Marathwada and parts of Western Maharashtra. During the visit, the Chief Minister will also meet several local leaders to discuss local level issues in Aurangabad, Silod, Yewala, Vijaypur, Pune areas, and also review problems and development work in each district with the collector. In a big order by the Kerala High Court, it has been observed that transgender persons must be permitted to participate in categories of their choice in the absence of a separate category for them to compete in sporting events.
This week, watch Checkmate to know why India is buying the latest arms and ammunitions. Why is India getting the latest defense technology from the world? Why is India arming itself at such a rapid rate? But I will tell you what I believe. I believe India has global ambitions. I believe India wants to be a global leader. When India says that it wants to become a Vishwaguru, it is not just talking about intellectual pursuit. It's not just talking about soft power. India is also talking about hard power.
Australia enjoyed a successful opening day of the track or cycling competition as they led the way with 3 goals and a bronze, while New Zealand won 2 events. Paracyclist Neil Fashie claimed his first 5th gold medal overall and Scotland's first this year at the paracycling event of the Games on the first day. Australia dominated at the swimming pool on the opening day of the competition, which included 2 all-Australian podium lockouts in the men's 400-metre freestyle and women's 200-metre freestyle finals. And England has become the first nation to win 3 successful gold medals for the Commonwealth artistic team gymnastics events. Wherever you are, whenever you want, Republic Livestream with you everywhere. Republic Livestream India.
You're watching Live and Breaking on Republic, and we're bringing you the last salute. India salutes her martyr, Indian Air Force brave heart, Flight Lieutenant Aditya Bal from Jammu. Those are live visuals from Jammu as his mortal remains, as the young officer's mortal remains are being carried for the cremation. The last rites to be performed in a short while from now. It's a day of mourning, yet of pride, as locals have been telling us. Our reporter Gursimran on the ground there covering this event. As it happens, Flight Lieutenant Aditya Bal was killed in action, was killed during a training sortie on Thursday evening. He was with another officer, Wing Commander Rana. And as locals were telling us, it takes a lot to become, a lot of struggle, a lot of hard work to become a soldier for India. Gursimran, our reporter on the ground there, as I was telling you, giving us those updates. Gursimran, is over to you once again. We are seeing the funeral procession of Flight Lieutenant Aditya Bal. Take us through what's happening now.
Yes, right now we are at the cremation ground where the last rites of Flight Lieutenant Aditya Bal will be performed. I'll request Gaurav to show you the visuals of the family. The family members have reached here, but they are inconsolable. They don't know what has happened to them, what has fallen to the family, because it was all right day before yesterday, but the unfortunate incident that has unfolded left a void in the family. They don't actually know what to do and how to react. Yesterday when we spoke to the family, they were all in tears. They said that they had a word with Aditya Bal yesterday itself, that is on the day of when this unfortunate incident took place. And I request Gaurav to keep showing you the visuals of the locals who have held the tricolor high, and they are raising the slogans of Bharat Mata Ki Jai and Aditya Bal Amar Rahe, because they also know that this brave heart has made a supreme sacrifice and has not only made the village proud but the entire country proud. And in a short while from now, the gun salute will be given to this brave heart of the Indian Air Force, who joined country, the elite force, Indian Air Force, in 2017, and since then he was serving the country. He had carried out above 4,000 hours of flying during the night hours, and he was a trained professional. But the unfortunate incident that unfolded day before yesterday, when possibly due to a technical snag, this MiG-21 crashed in the Barmer, and since then the family members were informed at around 12 in the midnight. और लगातार आप देखिए किस तरह से गौरव आपको विजुअल सिखा रहे हैं कि परिवार के जो लोग हैं, परिवारजन हैं, उनका रो रो कर बुरा हाल है। मैं सर जी गौरव से कहूँगा उस तरफ आपको विजुअल सिखाएं, जो भारतीय वायुसेना के जो तमाम आला अधिकारी हैं वो इस वक्त यहाँ पर मौजूद हैं, और पार्थिव शरीर को इस वक्त जो है आखिरी विदाई देने के लिए जो जिंदर महलू गांव है वहाँ के शमशान घाट में लाया जा रहा है। देश के इस जाबाज ने पूरे देश का नाम जो है वो ऊंचा किया है। देश की एकता, अखंडता और संप्रभुता को बनाए रखने के लिए लगातार ये जो है भारतीय वायुसेना में था। फाइटर पायलट के तौर पर पूरे गांव और पूरे जम्मू कश्मीर को इस पर फख्र है कि ये युवा जिसने कि देश के लिए अपना सर्वस्व न्योछावर किया, ये उनके गांव, उनके शहर और उनके केंद्र शासित प्रदेश से है। लगातार तिरंगे यहाँ पर आप देख पा रहे होंगे, ये तिरंगे इस बात का सबूत हैं कि गांव वाले जो हैं और आम जो लोग हैं यहाँ के, वो इस बलिदान को समझते हैं। वो समझते हैं कि आखिरकार कितना बड़ा बलिदान जो है वो देश के इस जाबाज ने दिया है। और लगातार अद्वितीय बल अमर रहे, और जब तक सूरज चांद रहेगा तब तक अद्वितीय का नाम रहेगा कि जय घोष जो है वो यहाँ पर लग रहे हैं। चंद क्षणों के बाद जो है वो पंचतत्व में विलीन हो जाएंगे फ्लाइट लेफ्टिनेंट अद्वितीय बल। और विजुअल्स लगातार सरजीवन आपको यहाँ पर दिखा रहे हैं। अब से चंद मिनटों के बाद ही पंचतत्व में देश का ये जाबाज जो है वो मिल जाएगा, लेकिन लोगों का एक समुंदर जो है वो यहाँ पर आया है इस शहीद को श्रद्धांजलि देने के लिए, इस जाबाज को शत शत नमन करने के लिए, जिसने कि वहाँ के गाँव में MiG-21 क्रैश ना हो उसकी फिक्र की, अपनी जान की परवाह नहीं की और अपना सर्वस्व न्योछावर किया। जी
The last salute is the last salute for Flight Lieutenant Aditya Bal in his hometown Jammu, as hundreds gathered to pay their respects to the young braveheart who after 8 years of service lost his life in a fatal air crash. of a MiG-21. Abhishek Kapoor joining us, our senior executive editor, joining us on the phone. Abhishek, we are getting the visuals there from the hometown of Flight Lieutenant Advitya Bal. Gursimran telling us about how his family is inconsolable. As of now, they are in a state of shock. But we also hear that they are demanding that the MiG-21s, this fleet, which at one point of time was a mainstay of the Indian Air Force, that it be phased out. It's a huge loss. At the same time, we can see that, you know, members of his family, people who knew him in his hometown, saluting his bravery.
Well, yes, it's a tragedy after all that someone as young as Aditya had to lose his life along with his senior officer. And this is, I believe, sixth crash of a MiG-21 since last Jan. And it's a continuing saga in many ways of India struggling to really plug the gap between aging warhorse and a trainer which can graduate pilots to a supersonic fighter. All the solutions are known to everyone concerned, and there was a brief period of about a decade lost in terms of decision making to get next generation of fighters and to speed up the trainer aircraft acquisition. And that's because of all those factors that we keep getting off and on these tragic crashes, particularly with MiG-21s. Remember, those fighters were inducted back in the 1960s, one of the world's first supersonic fighters. And what happens is, if you get trainees giving training on those high-speed supersonic fighters, and these are very old systems, avionics that are there in these fighters, in these fighter planes, because they were configured in 1960s. Of course, they were upgraded in late 90s and subsequently called MiG-21 Bisons. But still, there are 4 odd squadrons left, and till the time that phase-out happens, the IAF and the IAF pilots really have no option but to continue to use them. And that's why, as I said, at the peak, we had about 800 plus MiG-21s, of which almost 400 have been lost to crashes since the 1970s. As I mentioned, in the last 1 year alone, about 6 crashes, leading to loss of 5 lives, 5 fighter pilots lost. And that's such a human resource, tremendous amount of human resource, young fighter pilots lost. So I hope that these pictures where there is a groundswell of support to the family of Aditya, and the Air Force present there, carrying the coffin with the last remains, the casket with the last remains, and tricolors all over with supporters, residents there, family members, relatives, extended family, neighbors, everyone coming out, and emotions really coming out there. You can actually see some of the people with tears in their eyes. Women also coming out of the family. A young flight lieutenant lost to a process which has been unending. So I believe at some level these pictures would be sensitizing. Again, not that the establishment does not know what needs to be done. We have seen, for example, the entire Rafale saga and how it became embroiled in absolutely unnecessary politics to the detriment of nations' safety and security. And similarly, in the case of Tejas, for example, of the 123 odd that have been ordered by the IAF, just about 25-30 of them have been delivered. If we can really expedite the process of getting the light combat aircraft Tejas in our with the Air Force faster, obviously then you would have less dependence on the MiGs. Already the process of phasing them out is on. Just 4 squadrons left, so about 75 MiGs left. And we believe over the next 3-4 years, the last of the MiGs would be number plated. But the point is that for the next 3-4 years at least, the IAF will have to continue to use those old, aging war horses. And God forbid, nobody wants to see these pictures of young lives who could have been so valuable in combat for the nation, in service of the nation, and had a life ahead of them, really getting lost to these kind of tragedies, Rukma.
Right, Abhishek, you've really explained that so well and put it into perspective. The government has also taken note of it. But right now, well, as another life is lost to an aging fleet, there's really not much the government can do. Even the family has requested. Abhishek, stay with us. We'll be coming back to you. Earlier, Gursimran Singh spoke to the unconsolable family of martyr Flight Lieutenant Advitya Bal. Let's listen in to what they had to say.
कब आपको इस बात की जानकारी जो है एयरफोर्स की तरफ से दी गई?
ये सर हमारे को शाम को 9:30 बजे तक हमारे को ये जानकारी दी गई।